Hi, I'm Brandy McDonnell, Arts and Entertainment Writer for the Oklahoman and News OK, and I have filmmaker and musician and actor Greg Naughton here with me today. And he's one of our deadCENTER guys this year, and he's here with a movie called The Independents. And you wrote this, you play music in it, you act in it, you directed it. So this sounds like a pretty personal project, so why don't you tell me how it came about?
It is, I guess, yeah. It was sort of a dream of mine to make a movie sort of just soup to nuts. Of course, at the end of the day, there's hundreds of people who collaborate on these things and who touched it and made it work because as a neophyte to filmmaking, my background is really theater and music. It was necessary to have people who knew what they were doing to help me get there, but it is an idea that was inspired by my own band, The Sweet Remains. In my experience meeting these two characters who became my bandmates now for the last 10 years, and it was sort of an interesting, the relationship I have with them was sort of this interesting, weird world of, somewhere between marriage and being brothers or something. So I wanted to sort of capture that in this film. That was where the script came from and was inspired.
So is it strange or liberating or interesting to play sort of fictionalized versions of yourselves and your relationship?
Yeah. Yes.
It's all of those things, I guess. All of the above.
There was a stage in the development of this where we were trying to figure out, do we hire actors to do this? I was not sure I could direct this and be in it too. So I think at a certain point we just decided that there was a unique quality to these relationships that could only be captured probably by actually it being us. And ultimately I'm really pleased that we did that, but I was sort of panicked going into it, like what if we get there and this just doesn't work? These guys, neither of them had real acting experience in film ever before. So it was a huge leap of faith, and pretty much the real sole reason we wanted to do it is I wanted all those music sequences to be real. I wanted to record them live to tape, rather than having to lip sync things and do a lot of trickery.
Right. Well, it's so much better whenever you perform it live, I think. That's just my opinion. So
I agree with you.
But it would be like a little like the mirror dimension or something. I mean, to play versions of yourselves that aren't really you, I would think that would be a little, I don't know, a little surreal sometimes. So, but that gets
it was, but I
fun.
think it was like it became a thing where these characters were heightened versions of us. The movie itself isn't really naturalism. It's sort of this super real world in which it's all been distilled down. It's almost like a fable-esque story. So Rich, Greg, and Brian became, these quotes that I didn't really feel like I was playing myself. I don't think the guys felt like they were playing themselves, although the characters that I wrote for them are definitely close to them, so they didn't have too far to reach.
One of the things I thought whenever they sent me over the trailer for your film was that what I kind of thought was fun about it is that you normally, when you see these like let's all pile in a van and tour as musicians, it's usually like that's like the young man's game. So that sort of seemed like a little bit of a fun, I don't know, twist on the sort of the genre you see of the traveling musician kind of trope. Is that kind of fun to be that guy who's in the van playing the music?
That was also part of the inspiration. Was I think that the super bullseye target for this audience is people who either really wanted to do music and never had that opportunity to be a band in a van, or those who did it and know what it's like and can laugh at sort of what these characters go through in that environment. But I think what you started out with about the sort of unlikelihood of these guys from their usual more tropic version of the road story, it is in some ways it's sort of I think of it as a coming of middle age story, and so these guys are all arrested development cases who have never given up on this dream of trying to make it in the music business, and finding each other sort of inspires this second wind, this chance to maybe do that, but then they have to figure out how to get along together,
Right. Now that you're kind of on the back end of this project, how do you feel about this filmmaking experience that you took on?
I loved it. I would do it again in a minute if I can come up with another script and get the money for it and all that. So I'm planning to do that. I have other scripts that I'm working on. I don't know which the next one will be, but I have to try and get this one sold and make some money off of it first before I can go back to people and go, let's do it again.
Now this is, I think they said this is your first time at deadCENTER as a filmmaker,
Yeah.
obviously. So, but you have connections to Oklahoma. I don't think this is your first time to roll into Oklahoma.
No.
So like, tell us a little bit about, because I don't know if everybody knows your Oklahoma connections.
Well, my wife is Kelly O'Hara, who is quite famous in these parts these days. And so I come here quite a bit, you know, to visit the in-laws, a lot of whom will be there tonight at the screening and over the weekend. But she is a great, anybody who doesn't know, a terrific Broadway musical superstar, and somebody who I think of as the ultimate artist's artist. When I met her, she was just starting out, and we've been together for 16 years, so I didn't know at that time that she was going to become Kelly O'Hara, this sort of, who now has this great legacy and this, whatever, 6 or 7 Tony Award nominations and that sort of thing. So I've sort of watched the whole journey myself and just been continually surprised, impressed, and in awe of what she's accomplished.
Well, and I think she's not actually here. I think she's actually, isn't she in?
Sadly,
she's in London,
like
isn't she?
A bunch of her in-laws. You know, I'm hanging out with her family, and she's in London for the London premiere of King and I that she's bringing over there after she did it in Broadway last year.
Reprising her Tony Award-winning role. We were rooting for her because she hadn't won one yet. So
that's right.
I know there was a lot of people who are very excited whenever here locally to see her finally get that win. So I guess what's next for you besides, you said you're looking at some different film projects, possibly doing another making another film, but are there other projects you're working on?
Well, the band is always an ongoing thing. We have a lot of dates coming up in the fall and all over the country, and we're going to go to Alaska for the first time, which is interesting, touring Alaska. We're trying to figure that one out. There's huge, getting from one place to another in Alaska is an interesting conundrum. And then I'm taking my family out to London for the summer.
Nice.
We're all going to call that headquarters and sort of have a London experience while she's there.
Nice.
So that should be awesome. And then, yeah, I have these other projects that I'm hoping will get off the ground for a second film.
Nice, very nice. Now, The Independence is going to be tonight and then Sunday at deadCENTER, and people can find the times and the places on the deadCENTER website. And we have a lot more coverage of deadCENTER on newsok.com and in the Oklahoman, so check that out. And thanks so much for coming into our studio today.
Thank you. Thank you.